Okay, and let's confirm here. Okay, so we're live. There we go.
We're live. Awesome. Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? Daniel Gray here with Andy from GoBig. This is going to be an awesome video with a really amazing new tool that I've had the pleasure to dive into, use it for myself, and even hook other investors up using this software as well for their own business. So in this video, Andy is going to walk us through from A to Z over his new software, this new tool, PRINTgenie. And then if you stay till the end, we're even going to go over some dirty little secrets on how to completely automate your data and your marketing campaigns. So Andy, thanks for spending time with me, and let's dive on in it, man. The screen's all yours.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. Well, thanks for having me. So I'll get my glasses on so I can see better, but I'm happy to assist. I know that you are a marketing savvy guy, and I know you like tools and resources and systems that do things for you so you can set it and forget it. And that's the dynamic fashion of what we've tried to build here in PRINTgenie. So it really takes marketing savvy guys like you, and it takes tech type of printing companies in our case to manage that stuff. So I'm glad the combination of the two can get together. So I'm going to split a screen here so you can see both of us. And I'm happy to go through this. Let's just jump in right now and then show you a little bit about what PRINTgenie is. And I'll take you through the theory of what we're doing here and then why it's so amazingly powerful for anybody that's in marketing. And here we are talking about investors, but for agents or solar guys or roofer guys or any small business, the fact is the theory is built off of 500 million pieces of mail that I've mailed out in the last 2 decades. So when you introduced me, you said, hey, this is Andy with GoBig Printing. So we started GoBig Printing almost 20 years ago. We built print on demand. All this time I've wanted to be able to print one, and all this time I knew that I had to print something in sequence because we know there's no one-hit wonder. I mean, I think you would know that as a savvy marketing guy, and I certainly know that. And so that's what PRINTgenie is. We have literally taken and given you the ability to print one or to send to one person a whole sequence of events. And you can see here, it's illustrated by this graphic where it all starts with data. And then the data falls into a funnel, and it's inclusive of and or with direct mail, of course, text and email, and you can send a full campaign. And when I say campaign, Daniel, I really mean a full campaign. And I'll just skip down here and show you. So this graphic, if you can see that, is that good enough for you? Can you see that? So this graphic,
yep,
perfect. And it kind of it's showing you that sending one person or adding one person to this list, they're going to get a sequence of texts, emails, postcards, and then in the next month, we're going to repeat it and do a letter, a postcard, a text, and email, and then repeat it and do a postcard, text, and an email. And all of this stuff is pre-built for you so that all you have to do is add one name, and it automatically triggers all of this instantly. Now, you can upload a list or buy a list, but the point is you're sending this to somebody. And the bigger part about this is the pricing. And I'll just kind of share with you that, for an example, but here we have a 3-touch campaign that costs $2. So that means they're getting a letter, a postcard, an email, and then a month later, another postcard, another email, a text, and then a month later, another letter, maybe another email and a text, and that'd be about $2. And so I say that because it's super powerful. And you start thinking about, wow, if I got a lead wherever it came from, and you added that lead by your phone or you added it on the desktop, and you knew that for at least 4 months or 5 months, this guy's getting communicated with, and it only costs you $2. I mean, it's super powerful. And then of course like we're doing a 6-month, that would be about $5. So we can set up campaigns any way you want. There's a bunch that are pre-built, and you work with Daniel and he'll give you the best campaigns as well, pre-built with his authentic voice. And that kind of leads me, Daniel, with the premise behind, if I summarized everything, you can send a whole campaign to one person. You can send it by your phone or the desktop. You can zap it to your CRM. It is exceptionally low, as you know. It satisfies that challenge that you have of no minimums. I got a lead or I got 10 leads. and I want to communicate to them easily and know that they're going to be touched for the next 6 months. So you're doing all those things that you should be doing when you're marketing your business, right? And we've learned that over the last 2 decades of doing marketing. We put all this into one system. So with that, do you have anything of that you want me to hit on first, or you want to jump right in at the beginning with data?
Man, let's just jump right in the beginning with data, because obviously that's where everybody starts.
Okay. So what we did was we said, okay, let's put together pre-created campaigns, but also give you the ability, if you want to change them. Let's allow you to choose from the ones we built from 20 years of experience, pre-written, copywritten, texts and emails and postcards and letters, all written, and there's hundreds. Pick ours or duplicate them and make yours. Okay, so that's the idea behind it, but it all starts with data. So moving into data, we've given you a couple options. How do you get data into this system, right? So I'm going to jump into the actual platform here. So now what you're looking at, this is the platform, and you can see we give you a dashboard and show you how much you've spent, how many total touches you've made. So I've done 2,500 touches, right? It takes 7 touches to get somebody to do something. So that's why these systems are built to touch somebody at least once a month, but you're hitting them with a text, an email, and a postcard, right? And then you're following up again. So you can say I've sent out 30 postcards or 30 mini postcards, 30 single-sided letters, and a kind of 540 jumbo postcards and emails and texts. So that gives you a running total. But what you asked for was, let's start with data, right? So let's do that. On the left-hand side, you have a navigation, and it's not that complicated. It's as simple as this. And this is for our basic users that would like to pick from existing postcards, letters, and campaigns that have already been built, right? So that's a basic user, and we'll talk about a pro user afterwards. But here we are under mailing lists. We're saying, okay, here's a bunch of lists that I have already uploaded into my account. And it's just a running list of all your lists. And you simply click on it and it shows you your list. And then you can edit the names, but it's just showing you the typical things that are associated with any list, right? No big deal. But what we came here for was to get a list into the system, right? So there's lots of ways to get a list into the system. And I'm going to show you really 4, but essentially you can upload your own CSV file, which I mean, clearly makes sense. You give it a name, you call it Daniel, or you call it foreclosures or something, and then you upload it and you map it out in the typical function. And I'm not going to go through this demo in this regard. It's not a training, show here. It's more of a high level. So you're going to map it out, and we're going to ask for the owner's name, their last name, the property, what you want to buy, the address that you want to mail it to, because there's usually 2, where you want to mail it and the property you're interested in. But essentially, that's it. So when you upload a list, you can map that out. And if you have a phone and an email because you've skip traced it, that's fantastic, because now you're going to assign that to a campaign that's going to trigger those emails and phones when available to that person that you're sending this campaign to. And then the second way is if you have your own, if you want to create your list, but you want to enter them manually one at a time. So you just give it a name, call it something you want or whatever it is, give it a name, hit OK, and now you can manually enter names one at a time. So when that's important, that's, you can use that. And then over here, we have what we've done and learned is on this section, select from a map. On the GoBig side for the last 18 years, we've always worked with, or we allow you to customize and make your mail templates. But we also have data built into GoBig, and the best asset within that tool set is this thing. And we call it we call it over there our 1, 2, 3 quick pick list. But what we did was we took that idea that we've done for like the last 8 years, and we brought it inside of PRINTgenie. And what we did was, in conjunction with the data company, we went out and found the most likely to sell, the most motivated types of sellers. So in this case, I have mortgage defaults with out-of-state absentee owners with high equity. I mean, that's a motivated seller. And then if you mouse over these, it gives you more details about what it's all about. So you have a title here and then a detail, but here we have absentee owners with homes built before 1975 with high equity. And these guys are motivated. And so all you do is you pick the list that you think you want to work with. Depends on what your goal is, but we pre-built campaigns that correlate with the data sets that you're purchasing here. So absentee owners, home built before 75, cool. So pick the area that you want to work within. And so in this case, I'll pick California or I'll just do Arizona. And you pick the county you want to work in, and then you pick the cities and states, or sorry, the cities that you would like to work in. So I've just picked 3 cities, and you can pick as many zip codes as well. And we're going to find that list within those cities and that county and all these zip codes. And then we're going to limit it to maybe you want 50. And then we'll also skip trace them right here. That's a choice. Maybe you don't want to skip trace them, but if you do, you click that. And all you have to do is hit search leads, and we're going to go out and find absentee owners in these cities, and we're going to find 50 and then give you those leads for 10 cents each. So you can buy them on demand just like that. Pretty cool, huh? Very,
Oh,
and
that's really cool. Oh,
makes
yeah.
it simple, right? I mean, that's the goal here.
Yep, exactly.
So,
Yep, because I know a lot of investors out there, they can get really overwhelmed with, data. Obviously, there's a lot of other data tools out there, but when they get into it, they're overwhelmed. And a lot of them kind of just buy too much, or they don't get nitty gritty in their data to create that niche list that you can easily do right here within your own marketing tool. So
we've learned a lot, and we cater to a lot of investors, and they're kind of like everybody. It's like, I've heard so many stories about this works or this doesn't work, or this is hot or not, and this is what's hot now or otherwise. And so we're not a data company. We are using a data company that we've used now for 6-7 years, and they cater to one of the top 3 title companies. So it's a massive data company, and we pull their data. And we've worked with their data analysts to define the best, most likely defined motivated seller lists. And that's what you're looking at here. So we didn't distract you with giving you, as you can in other places, even on GoBig, you can go search and find 70 different filters. But we're like, you know what? We found most success when you just pick from these top 12, and then you're good to go. So that's the power of this data, and it's right there at your fingertips, and you just buy it whatever you want, when you want it, right then and there. It's an on-demand solution. So that's it. There's one more way to get data. Well, there's a couple other ways to get data into the system. So I'll just recap on that quickly. You can upload it. You can manually add them one at a time. You can buy them from our map here. You can also, when using our app for Driving for Dollars, you can tap an address, and that'll add a name as well. And you can also zap it through a Zapier connection in case you want to bring your list through CRM or your data set or something like that. But I'll leave those 2 off for later, right? So now that we showed you really how to get your data in here, then it becomes, so what do you want to do with your data, right? Why did you come here in the first place, right? So now that we got the data there, generally, there's really 2 functions that are going to happen. We've pre-built 100 and some templates for you to use, postcards and letters, and we're just showing you right here. And if I click on this show entry, I'll just pick 36. You can then further define it by saying, I'm only looking for example, postcards, and I'm only looking for postcards that happen to be handwritten. And then there's all your postcards. And so the way we did it was this. It's as simple as clicking order, and you want to send it to one person. Just click on add one. You put in your name, or where, not your name, but the place you're mailing it. Hit OK, and then we're going to charge you for that one postcard to be mailed out, just like that. And so what we found is like people will come in here and use it for like a basic letter of intent type of thing. Like you met somebody, there's a real sincere interest. So you jump in here, you find your letter of intent. It's not really a letter of intent. It depends on if you buy or if you make one or not, but essentially a letter, let's just call it. But you click on order, click on that, attach your name or the name you want to mail it to, and then hit OK. And you'll notice here that I'm just mailing one letter to just one person, right? And that's it. Now you can decide, well, I want to send out, here's a cash buyer letter, because you just met someone, you want to send a letter. You can click on it, review what the letter says, and all the variables are pulled in automatically. So it's going to say, dear, the person's first name. It's going to reference the property. It's going to reference your name, your phone number, and email, all pre-built into this. So all these are called mail merges. And so based on your account settings, we're going to pre-populate anything you order with that information. So we have a lot of agents will do it this way. They'll have like letterhead. Agents are a little different than investors, but they'll have letterhead, and they have their photo and their logo and their broker logo, and then their 10 little disclaimers and contacts and emails and websites and all that stuff. But all that pre-populates, right? But the point being is, it's as simple as you click order, you send it to one person, or if you want, you can send it to a list. And here I have a list of 7 hot leads. and it costs $5. So I'm going to send 7 letters in an envelope with a real stamp, with a handwritten font for the address and the return label, to 7 people for $5, right? I mean, talk about convenience. It's like,
Oh yeah.
and so even going a little deeper on this, imagine me, right? So I started building this 20 years ago with 8 guys in a room, and it was a exhaustive 4-year task. This wasn't even this is like looking at black and white TV back then compared to how we built things. But the fact that you can just, as a spazzy, crazy person and a graphic designer by trade, I can jump in, make my own letter, my own postcard, hit save, and then instantly mail it out or use it in a sequence. That, as simple as that. I mean, it's just like, this is almost like my direct mail fantasy coming true. And I sounds goofy saying that, but
No. And the thing is too, and that's what I kind of love about it, because you know me, I don't do Photoshop. I'm not a creative, artsy person. I don't know how to design things well. So, and I know you'll kind of get into that as well too. And of course, dealing with certain print shops, it's like I reach out to them, especially when it was your team back in the day before this, of, hey, I want it to kind of look like this, and it's kind of back and forth, and time goes by just trying to figure out a format, the copy, and how the letter is going to look. And all that time goes by that could actually be out in the mail or getting that into somebody's hands who I'm trying to help. And then finally, by the time it's approved and ready to go, then it's like, all right, off to the print shop, or it's getting my list, formatting it, getting over the print shop. Instead, you're just making this one easy hands-free approach.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just instant gratification. And also,
Exactly. Yep.
The wrench in the cog was, hey, you come up with a design or a template, and you're like, hey guys, put this together so you have it. Now, once you build that smart template and it's sitting there, that's fantastic. You can use it over and over again. But in the old conventional way, it would take some time to do. And now what we're finding is people are signing up here and just going, oh, I can make my own. Cool. Okay. They just duplicate one of ours as a beginning template and then modify it and change it. And we'll get into that later, but that's how easy it is. And it's full on instant gratification. But the fact is, honestly, Daniel, there's 100 and some postcards and letters. Probably going to find what you want, right? We probably already written for you. So it's not like you have to be a pro. You can just be a basic user and be like, we already have a boatload of stuff, right? And there's letters and postcards. So, okay. So I just showed you how to upload a list, how to buy a list, how to add a list. I didn't show you, but by your phone or by Zapier. I'll show you that later. Mm-hmm. And I just showed you how you can pick a postcard or letter, and you can send it to one person, or you can send it to a whole bunch of people, right? So that's all cool, but still, that's not like, to me, the creme de la creme. The creme de la creme is like the theory of it takes 7 touches, right? So we know, or maybe you don't know, but it takes 7 touches historically to get somebody to react or to communicate with you, right? The one-hit wonder scenario, we're all too distracted. I mean, just use me, case and scenario. I mean, it's like, I've got so many things going on, and the phone's ringing, or my dog's barking now that I'm at home, or something's happening, or I have a list of honeydews, right? So I'm distracted. So if I get mail today, I might get this thing and bypass over it. But honestly, this thing was from us, but it came in and it happened to be a check, and it was like, I'm so distracted, I passed right over it. And as it turns out, it was a good check for something else that I did. But the fact is, I'm saying I'm distracted, and then I need to be reminded again. So then what would be cool is, after that letter got here, if on my phone an hour or 2 or a day later it said, hey, this is Andy, I just sent you a letter, did you get it? I'm still here for you. And then I'm like, cool. Oh, I didn't get it. And then I forget, because then the phone rang or the doorbell rang. And then an hour or 2 later, or the next day, I get an email that said, hey, I just sent you a letter. I hope you got it. I'm here for you. Here's what I can do to assist you. So what we're doing is we're talking in that communicative voice, where we're not blasting 10,000 text message or RVMs. We're gently reminding a person that I sent you a one-off mailer, it looks like, and I'm asking if you've got it and if you're interested in it. And that's the best way to communicate to somebody, versus like writing in all caps where you're yelling at them, did you buy my house? It doesn't work that way. I mean, I think we're all savvy and smart now. You have to, I mean, my ebook talks about the authentic voice, and you slowly start to communicate to somebody. So you send them a letter, you remind them with a text and an email, and then you send them a postcard or a letter about 3 or 4 weeks later, and you're asking them, did you get it? And this is the way to build a relationship. Just like you and I have a relationship. Like, we didn't meet each other and I didn't instantly say, Daniel, buy this. You know, it's like, hey, what's up? You're what? You live there? Cool, I live here. We chat. That's the idea behind direct marketing. Okay. So that's my dissertation on auto. Didn't mean to go off on that, but you can cut that if you want to. Point being, the creme de la creme, it takes 7 touches. So what we did was, we know you don't know honestly what you should be sending out or how often you should send it out. So we've done that for you. And you're going to see here an active list of all the campaigns that I'm actively running. So here's 28 people were in that list, and it just ran through that campaign, and 31 were in that one person on this campaign, 500 in this campaign, 24, 27. So you can see there's small campaigns. You know, you're not seeing 10,000 and 5,000, right? We're not bulk mailing. We're communicating systematically month after month. So these are my active running campaigns. Now I'm going to show you the campaigns that we give you. And there's a couple extra ones in here because I'm in my demo site, but essentially there's about 14 different campaigns in here. And the way it works is this. We give you a title, and we're calling this like a 2-touch cash buyer campaign. And then we have a 3-touch distressed seller campaign, and a 3-touch foreclosure campaign, a buying houses generic campaign. And after 20 years, you kind of realize what works best, what's the best assets. So let's put them into a campaign and then make it just one button away from, deploying. So in this case, we have like a 4-touch equity owners, 30% or less than 30% equity campaign. The way it works is you mouse over the question mark, and it describes what's in this campaign. It says it's a postcard, a letter, followed by a postcard, followed by another letter with 4 texts and 4 emails, systematically dropped once a month. And then you can see here it would cost about either $3 or $2.88. Depends on if you're a basic or a pro. There's a little bit of a difference in the price. But that tells you to send to one person, roughly it's about $3. And then it tells you what's this campaign good for, and it describes why it's a great campaign. So all you're doing is clicking on it, you attach your list, you hit next step, and now it shows you what's in that campaign. And so we've taken that hard work out of it, and we built the campaigns for you. And what we do is we preset them up with triggers to go out at what we think is the best time. We're giving you the prerogative to change it if you want to, but we're saying initially there's a direct mail piece going out. This is the template in case you're interested later, but you can't change it. But this is the template. And so this is the postcard that we're immediately sending out, and it's got all the variables built in. And we're going to follow up about a couple days after they get the postcard. It's a text message that goes out. And then about a day later, a whole email that goes out. And then we're waiting about a month until they receive the next thing, which is a letter. And then we're going to wait a day, an email, a text, wait another 3 or 4 weeks, and then we send out a postcard. And then we wait again, text, email, and then we follow up on about the 4th month and we send another letter. And so if you notice here, what you might have noticed is that here's a handwritten letter on a formal type of stationery background. Here's a candid handwritten letter. Here's a formal graphic looking, postcard. Here's another one that looks a little bit less, maybe it's a little bit more, I don't know, it's a mix between texting and handwritten. And so the theory of authentic voice with me has always been communicate to them as though you wanted to learn who they are, build that relationship over time. But I, at the same time, don't know you as a person. I don't know you, Daniel. I mean, I know you, but I don't know you as a person. You might be an analytical approach type of person where you like structure and you like typeset Arial font and you want it stationary and you want it clean. And then you might be like me, where it's like I see handwritten stuff and it's like I'm drawn to it. So that's why we mix the messages, we communicate to them over time, and we mix it up because you're trying to take the same methodology of message and then deliver it. But at the same time, visually, we're going to give you something different because we don't know who you are as a person. And so I could send this campaign to someone in Southern California or Florida or Alabama or Vermont, and it's generally going to hit one way or another. I'm not just sending the exact same style, because even if you're in California or Florida, we're different within the state also, right? So that's kind of the theory behind here. So I'm just saying that's more of on philosophy of why you hit them many times, you mix it up. So once you do that, you hit next step, and it tells you that I'm sending 7 people, of which 3 had an email, and say 4 people had a phone number assigned to their campaign. And the total of touches on mini postcards, there's going to be 2 mini postcards, 1 single-sided letter and 1 double-sided letter. So I'm sending it to 7 people, all of those touches for about 20 bucks. And it's done. So if you start to think about it like we do, where, say, for example, you're using a data service and you're doing distress leads or something, and you get about 20. It's like, what can you possibly do with 20 leads? It's like, where do you begin? How would you manage 20? You can't. So if you could just take those 20 leads and drop them into a campaign and know that they're taken care of for 4 or 5 months, it's like, that's golden. And then the next day, you don't get 20, you get 1 name. You just add that 1 name to the list, and now that guy starts in the beginning and he's dripped on. I mean, that's like, it's like taking all those, it's like the other team's playbook. It's like you know what works. You're sending data that's relevant to people because you pick data specific to the region and the area you're working with, distressed or otherwise. You're in the real estate space, you're trying to buy a house. So now you've written material that's specific to that. So you have data that matches, you have material that matches. Now you can send it to one person in an auto drip sequence. It's like, all the magic is like right here for what, cheap as heck, right? So
Yep, exactly. And I know for me, when I used to manage marketing for other investors in other states, every single month, my calendar was just filled with dates of, text deployment or ringless voicemail deployment or email deployment, or, get with the print shop this day and make sure it's approved by this date so that they're out this date, and that hopefully they'll hit the mailbox this day. And if they hit the mailbox that day, then we'll do the ringless voicemails. It was just mayhem. My head wanted to explode because I'm setting myself reminders and doing the fulfillment on all these different marketing touches. And I was like, it had to be done by this date in hopes that we're staying on schedule. And now with this, being able to just create a campaign that lasts either a month, 3 months, 6 months, or a whole year. So then that way, all I have to worry about is just putting the data in there. And then the marketing campaign is hands-free from here on out. And yeah, I know this is going to take away a lot of stress and headache for a lot of investors out there.
True. From my vantage point, what we found, and we kind of started this product here, PRINTgenie, it's 2.5 years in the build process. And prior to that was 2 years building the ability to print one. So it's about a 4-year project. And prior to that, during while we're building this, we built a product called the Elixir. And the Elixir was our take on knowing that we had hit someone many times. But what happened is lots of times they would think, well, I don't like this campaign in the middle here, or I like this campaign, but I like this postcard in the middle. I want to replace it. Or this one's seven months long, but I only want 4 months long. Can I change it? And it was kind of a pain for our production department to mix and match. And it wasn't so easy on the GoBig side to say, okay, it was a little bit of what you just said, where they would create these Excel documents that were, okay, week 1, send this, week 2, follow up and send that. It was like, oh, okay. So all that stuff has been removed. And so we've taken all the headache, and really it's like, at the end of the day, that's all I'm doing anyways. I'm a problem solver, where all the things that people have asked me for 20 years, I've tried to eliminate those things for people. So now I've found so far less questions. I mean, more of things like, oh, I didn't know it did that also, right? Oh, you can do that? Like, that's what I hear more often than, because the things like I'd hear before, can you change this postcard out? Yeah, now you can. Oh, I don't like the way this says this. Can you change it? Sure. Or I don't buy properties. I take over, lease payments, or I take over notes. Can I change it? Sure, duplicate ours and make a new one. And it's like, okay, cool. Hey, I don't like it going out once a month. I want it once every 2 weeks because these are, foreclosures or auction dates. I'm like, okay. And it's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. So I gave you a big kind of overview of the basics of what's happening here. I showed you how you can upload a list. You can assign it to a postcard or letter, and also you can send a full campaign. I mean, that really is it in a nutshell. I mean, that's all of that's PRINTgenie in, in the overview of the 10,000 foot mark of what it is. And that's the core functions of what PRINTgenie is all about. So I didn't talk to you about the mobile app. Should I jump into that for a second and give you kind of a insight to it?
Just give us some quick insight on the mobile app.
Okay,
I know that is a big player and an amazing tool as well.
So I'll do it quickly, and then you can watch the video, and you can do some more things. But I'll give you the high level perspective.
Yeah, and a quick pause, and obviously anybody who's watching this, if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, at the end of this, go to the YouTube channel because there's going to be tons more videos with PRINTgenie. When myself have actually get into the nitty gritty of each feature, I'll be doing videos on from the very beginning of setting up a whole campaign, integrating lists, uploading lists, editing the campaigns and stuff like that. So just a heads up for everybody, if you're watching this, head to the channel. There's going to be tons more videos on every single feature, the overview of them, and actually how to use it and implement it. So
that's powerful.
So yep.
One of the things you discover, I knew what I wanted when we started this years ago, but it's a beast, no doubt about it. There's a lot here. We try to make it really an easy push button solution. It's very powerful, but then you have the tools are there, but it's like, I could have the best tools in my shed, and it's like, not really know how to use them. So sometimes it's like, it's very powerful to have the mind of you as a marketing person using the tools that we've created and putting together like perfect systems for people. So in this case scenario, it does have a Driving for Dollar app built in. It's currently on the iPhone, and we're opening up for the Android in a couple months. But at the very beginning, it'll open up and show you a map of where you're at, the GPS, and you can certainly type in an address if you want to. And it pulls up using Google Map where you're at, and you can do a hybrid view or a satellite view. And I'm going to go through this quickly, Daniel, so we don't spend too much time laboring over it, so you can show it in your video. But we're showing details of that property, right? And we're saying, hey, is this your property? And what we'll do is when you say, yeah, that is the property I'm standing in front of, we ask you that, then we're going to go out and find the owner of that property. So we're going to give you the details of the person who owns the property, and we're going to give you details of the property itself. So you can see the property location, the structure, and the value of the property, how many bedrooms and baths, et cetera, all the details of that property. And if it's owned by somebody who doesn't live there, we're going to give you his mailing address. And then you can skip trace it. So if you want to get his phone and his email, we're going to go out and search First American is our data center on this part. And we're going to capture the most used and most active phone and the most used and active email. We're not going to come back and give you 10 because 10 is useless. So we give you the most used. And in some cases, we don't find it. And probably, I think it's about 60% of the time we'll find a phone, and about 25% of the time we'll find an email. But what's really cool about this is that if you do the advanced search and you decide to send a multi-touch campaign from your phone to that one person, it's going to include that text and that email drop. Whereas if you can't find the phone or the email, it's not going to trigger that one sequence. It's no big deal. So from within the phone, you can pick and choose, just like I showed you on the dashboard a little bit ago, any postcard or letter. You can filter down to find the one you want because there's over 100 and some. You're going to find your favorites and have your favorites or make your own. And then you can certainly take a picture of the property. And when you do that, the assets available are different. Now we're showing you postcards or letters in which that photo that you just took can reside on that postcard or letter. And you can see these postcards, maybe it's a little hard to see, are uniquely different than these postcards. These are the ones that are dictated and qualified as an app-friendly postcard. Now, what you came here for, like I talked about before, was the creme de la creme. And what that means, again, is that it's the multi-touch, multi-channel sequence. So your choices are take a picture, send it to the person, or pick a postcard or a letter and send it to the person, or pick a full campaign and hit that person month after month after month, which is really what you should be doing, right? I think that's kind of like the power play in this thing. And so not only are you hitting a month after month with an email and a text and a postcard and a letter, you're doing exactly what you should be doing as far as marketing, right? For the same amount of effort, one button, you're sending all of this. So hang on one second. I was going to sneeze. Excuse me. So that's the driving for dollar. That was going to come out. So that's the driving for dollar function. Okay, in here. So now I think maybe this is a good segue to lead into lightly what you can do if you don't like the assets we built. Would that be a fair statement, or is there something you want to see more specifically, Daniel? What do you think?
No, keep on moving forward.
Okay, so what I told you about before was as a problem solver, I get people saying, I like your postcard, but I want it to say this. Okay, so what you do is you jump into what we call our pro admin side, and then it'll open up a whole new set of tools. So now you can actually build your own postcards and letters. And so what we do is we're giving you a bunch of text messages that you can duplicate them, and you can also make your own. So you want to make your own text message complete with all the mail merge tags, you can. And it's the same with email templates. And we're doing this. We're saying, look, copy ours by duplicating it, or make your own. And if you want to make your own, I'll just show you one. Here's the pencil. So here I wrote this, and you can see here, as I did here, I said, hi, and I choose owner first name or owner full name. I like first name because I don't like to say, I like to use the first name. Hi, owner first name. This is Andy reaching out to say blah, blah, blah. And then I want to buy your property at, and you have all these mail merge tokens that you can pull down, property, street, city, state, zip, pulling in all of my information as well. So what you're doing is you're setting up your account profile, and your account profile with your name and email and website, all that stuff is going to pre-populate anything you order. That's a text, an email, or any postcard or letter. So now, what'd you come here for? Probably a postcard or a letter. And so I'm gonna give you access to our library of postcards and letters. Now, this is almost like you saw before on the other screen, but I can't order it. You'll notice there's no order button here. I'm actually in the process of building it at this point. So what you can do is you can click on any of these things and edit it. So what I'll do is this. I like this postcard, but I don't like, saying something like cash, for example. But I like the pretense of what this is. And I don't want to start from scratch, even though you can. So you hit duplicate, and you call it something you want. So I'll call it Test Daniel for now. And I hit create. So I took that postcard, that asset, and it's the same with email, text, or postcards or letters or campaigns, and I duplicated it. And so now I go find it. If I didn't put it into a category, then I'll search it, because I could have hundreds. I don't know what your intentions are. But here's one called Test Daniel. And now I have a little pencil here, and I'll hit continue. And now I'm going to show you briefly. I'm not trying to show you this isn't a tutorial. This is just like a quick high-level perspective. Excuse me. So now I'm showing you the mail side of this postcard, and I'm going to show you the message side. And all of these little parts are things I've typed in. So I took this thing and I typed it in here, right? So we want to buy, so maybe it's I want to buy, right? Or you might say hashtag owner first name, Mary, comma, I want to buy. And so make that a little bigger because that doesn't look good. There it is. Mary, it's going to put Mary because this is owner first name. I want to buy your property at, and I don't like the green, so I can change that to red, or red's a bad color, so I can make it yellow. I can make it, ugly yellow, and I can save that color, and then I can make this green the same yellow, right? So then we've given you, and what you see over here is my temporary library, but you can see here, I can add and drop as many images as I want to. So I was making a couple things for some guys. Here's a guy, good looking dude. I was doing something for him, but you're just uploading your images and putting them where you want, right? And then you can do things like, okay, I want to do some doodling. Come in here, grab that yellow, underline cash. Come in here, click on doodles, and you're like, okay, click on that. And you'll notice there's a huge check mark, and I'll just scale it down, put it right here, and then zoom back in for you so you can see it. So now that's how you can edit a postcard. And I'm just giving you real basic, ideas. But you can change the font, you can change the color, you can come in here and go, well, let's make that handwritten, and let's change the size a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, and put this on the next line, put that down here, and I don't like that red, I'll make it blue. Here, call my phone number, visit us at. and it's going to put your phone number and your website right there. And then I put this little circle there. So I just made this postcard, fairly easily. There it is. And I just hit OK. And on the backside, by the way, if you have your own ping files, and there's great resources for ping files, like if you wanted a picture of a guy holding a house above his head, like I had in one of these images shots, I think it was over here or something, but you can go get ping files from places and just upload a ping file with a transparent background and then use them as graphics. And then you can even do things like, well, I would like that's really ugly, that yellow, but let's just make that my background color, or just choose a better yellow. And so I have a background color, and I'll make that my postcard. So now I have a yellow background. There's my front, there's my back. I hit OK. And now I've just created a new postcard that I can jump over and order right now. So you can start to see that instant gratification, and you start to go, man, this is powerful stuff, right? So I want to dictate, my own message, my own theory of what I think it should look like. And I've just made this, I didn't make that one, I made the one called test. Here it is. And I call it test Daniel, and here it is. And it was a little bit ugly, but you get the point. So I modified mine, I adjusted it slightly, I put the owner's first name in there, whatever it is, I made a yellow background, and that's it. And you can even generate a high-res PDF if you want to make sure it's accurately done the right way, and it'll be better high-res for you. And that'll zoom in. There you go. So now I just made, and you can print it out if you like, but then I just made that badass postcard. So that's it. So then once you have your postcards and letters, you can order them or you can add them to a campaign, and I'll leave this part out, but essentially making a campaign or building a campaign, there's stuff to make this happen, but the fact is it's all there. I think I'll leave this, leave this out for now and show you later, but you can drag and drop your postcards and your letters into a timeline, and you kind of saw it earlier on that earlier part of our demo, and then schedule them to go out at certain times. So there you go. So that covers lists, ordering things, now customizing the things you want to order, right? Pretty powerful.
Yeah. And I love this. I love the customization feature because, like I said earlier, I'm not a Photoshop guy. I don't have the fancy designer tools. But just recently, I came in here and created a campaign, and the letter templates and the postcard templates, and there's so many in here that they're pretty much ready to go. But it's just so easy to be like, oh, I love this letter format, or I love this postcard design. But here, just let me duplicate it. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to change a couple sentences, or just change the text a little bit to where it's a little bit more personalization for myself and my own business. And it's just so simple to use. Like literally, just like you did, you can get it done in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. We, I know the daunting task of this, right? And I know it because I'm a designer. I've built this stuff for 20 years. So mail templates, the daunting task is this: create a card, give it a name, whatever, category, put it into a category, whatever category you want, and multiple categories if you want. Choose a mini postcard, choose a jumbo postcard, choose a letter, single-sided or double-sided. This is what the envelopes look like, by the way. So you can do that, right? So I've chosen to make a letter, and then I hit continue, and I'm just saying the daunting task is this. I open it up, and I'm making a letter now. And let that load. There's my letter. Okay, what am I gonna do? So what you usually would do is you come in here and you add your text. So there's my text. You can start from scratch, go, hi, hashtag. Hi, owner first name. My name is, and I'll put in my first name's there, so I don't have to, in case I change my name down the road, it'll pull from my account, right? I want to buy your house at, and we'll do property street. And that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to make it maybe this handwritten font like this. And then you go, cool, that looks pretty good. And then I want to add my own yellow letter or my own pink paper. So you just click on images and you upload it just like that. So I don't know what this one is. Here's some letterhead I happen to open up. So now, really what I'm doing is I'm just showing you how pretty easily you can just make your own letter. But it is still a little daunting because you have to think about it. So sometimes it's better to take the content that we've already done for you and edit it in the template style that we've already thought of. Because I mean, we're graphic designing, marketing guys with a direct mail and print function. So we've taken like, this is a part of our tagline from 20 years ago. It's like we take the content of the smart coaching marketing consultants, and we take the graphic design and the tech side of us as a marketing consulting printing company, and we combine the two. And it's like, bam, right? And so like when you work with a guy like you, Daniel, you'll be like, okay, this is a great methodology and communication sequence for this type of scenario. And it might be for real estate agents, it might be for investors, but you're going to write some of that stuff. And so the guy who doesn't know better is going to rely on a guy like you in what it should say. And then they're going to rely on either us and or you putting together these things that are in a sequence in a timely fashion that each has a call to action based on the previous one. And that becomes, this is the ingredient for most optimum success. Anything less than that is like hope marketing, right? So
exactly. Yep.
right. And so good data and a delivery deploying system with no limitations and not really any cost associated with, I mean, we're not charging the $1.50 per letter like you could. We could be charging it 76 cents for a letter, first class in an envelope with no window. It's like a real envelope with a real stamp. Right. And then, and going out. So you can't really beat that. So anyway,
Nope.
Okay. So I just showed you a bunch of stuff. I'm happy to keep going, Daniel. You can let me know what you want to see next. We did talk about dynamic data. I don't know if you want to go there now or.
Yeah, I would say this is a perfect timing. And again, if you're this far in the video, don't worry, go to the YouTube channel. There's going to be a lot more stuff where I'll kind of explain a little bit more detail, kind of even showcasing me editing some of my current templates, how to do it a little bit more in detail, and then building out the campaigns. But again, I love this feature because it's like you already have enough cool design templates in there that there's no reason to start from scratch, and it's just going in there, duplicating, changing a few word sentences and copy and whatnot, and then submit it, and then you're good to go. But yeah, I think now's a great time to kind of lean into dynamic data, because I know that's a really awesome feature, a feature that I love as well too, and that I've been able to implement that just works like a charm. And this what truly creates hands-free marketing campaigns. So man, go right into it.
Okay. So I will, because it's my favorite. So if you could think of me as a problem solver, trying to create systems that people can use to build, to do their own thing, right? That's what I'm doing, is eliminating people from saying, Andy, make this, or go big, make that, or I want this, or I want that. It's like, here, you just go do it. Here you go. So then the next thing was like, how can I sequentially give someone the ability to just drip it and it's working for you while you're sleeping, right? So what is that systematic automation approach that I can provide? What can I do so that I can give this tool to you without you having to really think about it? So we're doing the same thing, right? So what we've done is in particular, let me jump over to this slide here. I guess you can see this pretty well. Yeah. Does that show up? Okay. I'll just show you my PowerPoint. So what we've done is we've said, okay, let's take the power of data and let's apply that to what we've created through multi-touch, channel campaigns. We talked to a lot of different places, but this worked out to be so perfect for us. So PropertyRadar is a data center that's been around about 18 years. I think they were in early 2000s when they got started. They did really well in 2008, 9, 10 with foreclosure data. And they've really capitalized on accessing highly motivated sellers and data from all sorts that are brought into an easy to use platform. So we said, okay, that's great data. We have great auto triggers and campaigns set up here with direct mail. Let's combine the two together. Let's make it so that when something happens here, something happens here when you sleep. So here we are. Multi-touch campaigns combined with data and then direct mail sequences, either sending one or a full campaign. And ultimately, like we spoke about before, all of this sent to as little as one person for about $3.30. So I'm going through this fast because we already went through it, but essentially I'm showing you all of that, and this is an example, or just one postcard or letter can be sent to one person, right? So we talked about that, but what if you could combine that data in something we're calling dynamic data? What if you could take the data from PropertyRadar, you could predefine and pre-fit or pre-create your lists that are perfect to whatever you want to be marketing in. I don't know if it's affidavit of death or pre-foreclosures or probates or absentee owners or high equities or whatever it is that you think you want to work within. But you pre-set up that filter set, and now you have a filter set. Now, what would happen is this. Well, it's kind of a sequentially thing. You set up your data set, like I just showed you. There's your filter. It does all, it's got a list of all the people that landed in that filter set. I don't remember what this one was. Maybe it was absentee owners or something, high equity absentee owners. And then I say, okay, once you have that list, what do you want to do with that list? You either want to send it to one person or you want to send it to a full campaign. And we already went over this, right? So essentially you're picking it and sending it to one. Let's get this thing, I think, out of the way. I think that one, let me get that out of the way here so you're not confused. So we're taking that list and then we're picking a postcard or a letter, or we're picking a full campaign. And then what? We're going to schedule it to automatically go in the mail. So what we're doing is, just to recap that, you make your list, you pick your letter or your postcard, or you pick your full campaign. And whenever there's a data change or something uniquely different in that property, and it's added to that filter set, it's going to automatically send out that campaign, postcard, or letter. Automatically. That's what we call dynamic data. So it's as easy as you pick your list, you pick the campaign or the asset that you want to go out when something happens to that list, and then it automatically triggers. And what's cool about the data set is that it happens every night when you wake up, right? So their data changes all the time. It's perpetual. So if you have a list that's like absentee owners, high equities in a certain area, and whatever you're looking for, maybe you have an age bracket on there or something. And then as soon as that data changes, if you knew that campaign was going out, I mean, it's just like, it's like a game changer. And so you've set up your marketing to happen automatically while you're asleep. It's pretty cool, huh?
It's very cool. And this is what I think is going to give a lot of investors the upper hand, especially against their competition, is because PropertyRadar is known to be the best and most accurate and up-to-date data, especially when it comes to auctions and foreclosures. And of course, the first person to touch that homeowner is, most likely going to win. So while everybody else is having their VAs or their team pull lists weekly or just monthly, and then uploading and transferring it to whatever marketing campaigns, you're literally just not even thinking about it. You can be in bed, and when a property hits foreclosure or an auction, boom, it triggers and sent right off to the print shop, and you got a mailer or a postcard sending right to that homeowner while everyone else is still pulling their list, So this is what's going to give a lot of investors the upper hand for sure.
So, and you can speak true to yourself and what you've been doing for some of our clients, right? So you can say, some of these guys that you've been setting these things up for, right? So you'll work with them and figure out the right filter set. You'll think about the type of data, the area they want to market in. Maybe they want to market some in LA, or maybe some guys want to be up in in East County or Riverside or something like that, or Southern California. And you'll set up these data sets and then the marketing pieces that go with the data sets to specifically communicate with the people of that region, or the type of people they are in reference to their distressed or their high equity or otherwise. But have you noticed that, like I know from the system here, and you could speak to this, but people have asked you to come back and said, okay, we've got this running for this one and it's working. Now I want you to do one for another area. And now I want you to do for another area, right? So they're coming to you and saying, just make this happen for me. Set it up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just worked with one guy. He wanted in one county, and just to kind of start, we're like, well, he was kind of like, well, let's just start with a 2-touch campaign. And right away in the first couple of weeks, he already got a handful of leads, and he came back to me. I was like, all right, let's go do another county, and now let's do a 4-touch campaign. And now with that other county that was doing a two-touch, now we're already in talks of, okay, let's take that same list transferred over and let's make a different campaign. Let's try a different letter approach or different postcards approach, you know? So, you know, so because all the lists are staying within within the software, even when a campaign ends, it's easy to just go and pick another campaign and launch it again with that same exact list.
Perfect. So really, what is he doing? I mean, this guy, he's doing what he's good at, which is probably answering the, you know, the calls
Yep.
and closing deals, right? So he's not doing the marketing part. He set up the system, or you set up the system so that the leads are coming in for him, and he's doing what he's good at, right? So I think that's case in point here, right? So we're good at printing, we're good at tech, we put together a system, and that's what I'm good at. I can write copy and put together marketing pieces because we've done that for so long. But as I told you earlier, we work with coaches that really know what it should say. And in your case, you're a marketing guy, you're a tech guy, you set up systems for people. So that's your tool set. And then this guy, this other client of yours, he's good at, you know, he's an investor, so he's good at buying properties or whatever he fix and flips. So he's good at that, right? So I don't want to go fix and flip. You don't want to start building technology for this kind of thing. And he certainly doesn't want to deploy campaigns, right? So isn't it just, it makes perfect sense. It's like, oh, okay, just stick in your lane, stay in your lane and do what you're good at, like, right? So,
Yep. Exactly.
So at the end of the day, he's not really doing anything but answering phone calls when they come in.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also enjoying life. He's getting time back, you know. The
it.
biggest thing for me and why I love software and why I like hanging out with you, Andy, and connecting and talking is obviously I love software and putting systems and tools in place, because it's like, it's not just for me, it's at least for me, and I know everybody has different goals and visions, but it's not just being able to touch more people and make more money, but it's also getting my time back. You know, and I know a lot of investors are the same way. You get into real estate investing to live a good life, get away from the 9 to 5, you know. So if you can easily implement a tool or strategy that would allow you to not even think about it and just know with confidence it's working in the background, it's getting my phone to ring, you know, if I don't have to think about it or worry about it, it's set up and good to go and it will last me for the rest of my career. That's an amazing tool. That's an amazing system that you should be implementing right away.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the campaigns are perpetual. So when you add a name to a campaign, that guy starts from the beginning and he just drips all the way through it, but he might be on the 5th out of 6 touches, and you add another 2 or 3 names and they're at the beginning and they just running through it. And then again, you might just upload a list of 30 or 40 or 100, and then you add them to that same campaign and they're just running through it. So once you it's not like you're building different campaigns all the time. You set up a handful of campaigns that work specifically for the, you know, for the data that you're working on. And you're just feeding it data, but now you can feed it dynamically, right? So it becomes very powerful. Time is everything. I'm older than you a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so, did you say, oh yeah, at the time I said I'm older than you? And you said, oh yeah. or did you say, oh yeah, after I said time is important?
Time is important. Oh yeah.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Point being, so I have customer service people, and my whole thing is that every time I see them spending a lot of extra time with someone that doesn't have to happen, it's like, it's frustrating because they're doing things that the system could be doing for them, right? So that's why I fall when someone is trying to do something in an automated sequence, or they can do something in an automated sequence that happens for them when they're sleeping. I'm going to spend more time building that solution so I can ease up on them having to do manual effort on things. And that just comes from, 30-year tech background of trying to build a solution that it solves that riddle. And my riddle happened to be, saving time for the girls in the customer service department, right? So, and in your case of your investor, he wants to save time and not have to do his marketing stuff, right? So here's a tool to make it happen. So I don't know what else I could show you, Daniel, but this is kind of a dumb theory here, but the peanut butter chocolate or peanut butter and jelly sandwich scenario I always talk about is really, really true here. I mean, we put together a lot of good campaigns, a lot of good templates, but it really takes working with a marketing guy to understand it, at least setting them up, right? So I think there's a real value to you to not only just bring this and use it for yourself and your clients, but for you to put your assets in here, what you think works in conjunction with what we have been building, into a sequence. And so it really behooves people to not only get a system, but to listen to you and to put together that perfect campaign. Because, maybe it's just to set it and forget it, but take that effort. And I just know from my experience, you may be just a user coming into the system, and there's plenty you can push and play and make it work. But it also takes that, maybe it's like, let's do this the right way. Let's have a guy put it together the right way with the right sequences, saying the right thing with the right data. And now that way, emphatically that the effort that you put in at the beginning is going to pay off at the end with time and then in results, right? So, it's a case in point. So it's a good scenario, the two of us. So I appreciate you, sharing and talking about it. I'm happy to share.
Of course. Well, I love it when we get together and, we talk marketing and tools and systems. I think that's what kind of brought us together and built that connection, because we really love this stuff. And of course, loving to help people, scale their business as well too. But yeah, man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much, Andy, for taking the time and really going through this. And again, if, for everyone, head to the YouTube channel. There's going to be tons more videos on this tool. I'll be walking through campaigns, starting from beginning to the end. Also how to integrate to PropertyRadar, and even just PropertyRadar itself if you're new to that software too, and how to really create those dynamic lists, because dynamic lists is what creates it hands-free. And what's amazing, it's always annoying to go into a data tool and every month or couple months you gotta kind of restart again, creating that data set, but make sure that the data doesn't overlap, or you gotta scrub it to make sure that you don't have duplicates. And just to be able to set it, forget it, create your list, and you just know that every time a property hits that criteria, it's going to be pushed right into a campaign. So yeah, but awesome, man.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Andy, for this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Good to see you, Daniel. Have a great day.
Yeah, you
Bye.
as well.